What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful night tonight. Beautiful night. A little bit on the warm side, but you know, it's still summertime. I made a fresh cup of tea, Lipton. Delicious. Delicious. I don't know who the first person to discover this tea stuff was. I know it wasn't Mr. T, but whoever it was, brilliant, brilliant. So tasty. Good stuff. So the weekend is over. Here we are sitting down. It's Sunday night, 11:46 in the p.m. Just relaxing. I'll be going to bed in an hour or so. Tomorrow is a new day. Mama's boy. So, I'm a big fan of Abba. And I've been a big fan of Abba probably since I was in the 6th grade. 6th grade. I had a friend of mine, he was from Lebanon. And he came here during his family, along with himself and his siblings, came over here during the war that was happening there. And me and him would talk about everything. But one of the main things that we spoke of was music. And the band that we both loved, I mean, there was a lot of bands that we loved, a lot of individual singers, but Abba. To this day, I'm a huge fan of Abba. Everything about them. The singing, the lyrics, the fact that they were able to put sad lyrics to happy music. You know, because their songs were like, you know, sad songs, but with happy music. And the music was very, you know, catchy. Or catchy. So, a lot of times we're out driving, you know, we'll go somewhere far, and my go-to band, Abba. Love listening to Abba, driving long distance on the highway, and putting Abba's great hits. Sometimes they're the greatest hits. But my favorite all-time Abba song, I mean, there's a lot of them that I love, but this one is Love Cubed, right? I love the song The Day Before You Came. The first time I heard that song was about 30 years ago. More than, yeah, 30 years ago. And I had bought a new Abba thing, you know, Abba CD back then. I put it in the CD player, and all of a sudden I came up to the song, which is The Day Before You Came, and it spoke to me. It spoke to me. I couldn't stop listening to that song. So if the band Abba is watching this video, I want to tell them thank you so much for that song. That touches me. Somewhere here, touches me. Great tune, great beat, great bass. That's another thing about Abba. They have the best bass lines. The bass player for that band was like a genius. You know, a genius. Just the Einstein of bass playing. When they mentioned a few years ago that they were in the studio recording new ABBA songs, man, I could not stop thinking about it. You know, and then it took a long time for the songs to be released. You know, they were like, oh, it's coming next year, And then one time I was reading an interview, and they said, definitely, it's going to be out this year. And it came out, And I thought it was gonna be like 2 songs. This was like an album, you know. So, and I played it and played it and played it and played it. You know, Voyager. Great, great, great album, and it sounded the same way that they sounded back in the '70s. You know, not just the vocals. I mean, you can in the studio manipulate things to make them sound better, but lyrically, musically, they had not missed a step. You know, you get these bands, they come back after like 30 years and they put something out, and you go, yeah, that's okay, but it's not anything close to what you used to put out. This album that was released was really good. It was close to the stuff that they released years ago. And I'm hoping that that they release more material. Just a great band. The music that they set to the lyrics is just awesome. Awesome. I wish that I'd seen them live. I mean, I have stuff on the internet that I read where it talks about the holograms, where they went in the studio and they did hologram images of themselves up there dancing and singing like the old days. I might see that. You never know. But I'm a huge fan of Abba. Abba. I had a friend, his last name was Abba. We called him Abba Dabba Do. But not we, some of us. I had a friend in high school. He liked Vanessa Williams, so his name eventually became Vanessa. You know, I don't know. That's how things happen, you know. But yeah, we'll be on a highway somewhere, and I say to my bride, put me Abba. And it gets me into that mood, you know, that mood where the music makes me feel good. There's a lot of bands I love, a lot of individual singers, solo artists, all that. But Abba's got it. Abba's got the touch. You know, you could read the ingredients to Campbell's soup, and they can put it to the Abba music, and it would sound awesome. Guitar gods. I love the guitar, acoustic and electric. But yeah, I just, you know, enjoy listening to the guitar. Buddy Guy is in here, B.B. King. A lot of instruments, details. Good stuff. Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, just awesome player. Oh, we have Slash, Mark Knopfler, Let's see, who else is in here? And we have Gibson guitars, the Gibson L30, the Gibson ES5, which I'm a big fan of. Gibson ES335, great guitar. And then you have the B.B. King guitar, the Lucille model made by Gibson. That's an awesome guitar, look at that. That one there. I mean, they're both Lucille. I think the story goes something like, I heard the story a long time ago. The Lucille named it B.B. King gave his guitar. So he was playing in some old building many years ago, probably before I was even born. And he was playing there, and all of a sudden these two guys, they start fist fighting. A fire breaks out, and everybody gets out, and B.B. King goes back in to save his guitar. Everybody's like, "You're crazy, you're gonna go and get burned and die." B.B. King went in there, grabbed his guitar, and got out safely, although it could have ended badly for him. Later on, he found out that the two guys that were responsible for the fire were fist fighting each other over a woman named Lucille, and that's where the name came from. I'm a fan of that name, Lucille, Lucy. That's a cool name. It's the humidity is making me, choke up here. Mark Knopfler. Oh, let's see what's going on. Not much. So yeah, if I would pick one instrument that I would love to hear all the time, it would be the guitar. The guitar. Brother in Arms, great tune, great tune. This guy looks like David Banner, Hank Marvin. Hank Marvin. A little bit David Banner with a touch of John Denver. Remember John Denver? Brian May from Queen. He's got like Howard Stern hair. Yeah, that's him at his prime there. A lot of guitars, just, I feel now the humidity building up a little bit. Let's see who else is in here. Jimmy Page. The legendary Jimmy Page. This guy is amazing, amazing. If you pick this guy to be your favorite guitarist, you will not get criticized. Amazing. Jimmy Page. It's a shame that the guitar solo is gone from most songs these days. Slash. Awesome guitar player. Slash. Yep. He plays the Gibson Les Paul. Let's see who else is here. Pete Townsend. This classic jump there with the guitar. I will say that I never really got into the Who. There's a couple of tunes that I like, but they were kind of like, they were okay for me to, I'd hear, Pinball Wizard, songs like that, and Never really clicked, but they were okay for me. And of course, the legendary Eddie Van Halen. Look at this guy. One of my favorite guitarists. It's tough to say, you know, who, like, yeah, if you're a huge fan, you say that's my favorite, but they're all so good. They're all so good. You know, they're all, you know, they're all like, I mean, I have a bunch of them that are so good that they could all could be in #1 spot if there was such a thing to have 5 guys #1. But Eddie Van Halen, amazing guitar player. Amazing guitar player. And it's almost like he purposely makes his guitars look old. Like this guitar does not, I don't think it's that old, but I think he went to Home Depot and got sandpaper and made it look old. He's got the 5150 Studio. Just, I'm a fan of Van Halen. You know, the David Lee Roth years and the Sammy Hagar years. The Frankenstein guitar. One of the most recognizable guitars on the planet, if not the most recognizable. I think the only one that may give it some competition is Willie Nelson's guitar. Willie Nelson's guitar is very recognizable. But yeah, Eddie Van Halen is, you know, whatever's beyond awesome, that's him. And I wish he was still around. But anyway, Agnes Young, we'll talk about him a little bit. But yeah, Eddie Van Halen, when 1984 came out, that album, it was huge. It was huge. MTV, the videos, David Lee Roth, everything about it. It's just a big album. You couldn't turn the radio on without hearing Van Halen back then. And then they, you know, they released all those cool videos, and all of a sudden, David Lee Roth was out, you know, all of a sudden. And then he formed another band, the Yankee Doodle, I don't know. He formed some other band, Steve Vai, another awesome guitar player. Was contacted. He said he lived up on Fairfax, and I guess David Lee Roth called him up, or I don't know, it was a rotary phone, and made a band with him. It's great guitar playing on that first album. You know, I mean, you can't really compare him to Eddie Van Halen. It's a different style. I mean, they're both amazing. Obviously, Eddie Van Halen is much more well known. But Stephen Vai is incredible on the guitar. But anyway, when Van Halen got Sammy Hagar as the new lead singer, I was skeptical at first. I mean, I liked Sammy Hagar from before, but I didn't know how that was going to fit in, you know, with the harder edge Van Halen. And then they went in the studio and they recorded 5150, and when that came out, it was mind-blowing. It was so good. It was so good. Obviously, they softened their sound a little bit. They went more into the power ballads. There was still a lot of guitar, but they also introduced synthesizers, keyboards, which Eddie Van Halen is a really good pianist, so he was able to play all that stuff, and, you know, much better than any other guy that could play keyboards. Like, really good keyboard player. But anyway, I heard that and I go, wow, amazing. They did it. They did it. They were able to reinvent themselves. So then they had other albums come out, and I love For Unlawful Cardinal Knowledge. Great album. Pound Cake, you know, but just the fact that they were able to get lucky with him. It could have been where the fans rejected it. They were like, yeah, you got rid of David Lee Roth, or he left, depending on who you want to believe, right? Back then the story was that, you know, 1984 comes out, and David Lee Roth is just way too big for the band, and his ego is just way too big to contain within that band. And Eddie was getting jealous that he wasn't getting as much of the attention as being one of the founding members of the band and the guitarist and all that. And the story was that they told him, you can leave. But then you have other things. Other people say, no, it didn't go that way. On his own, David Lee Roth decided to leave. So who knows? Anyway, it doesn't matter now, 100 years later. But I remember, when he released, what was it, the Beach Boys thing there, the California Girls, or yeah, it was a cool video, But he's very flashy, eccentric, David Lee Roth, and the other guy, Sammy Hagar, he's more, old school rock star. And from, I hear him singing, on YouTube live, recent live and all that. Not bad. I mean, his voice is held up. David Lee Roth's voice has not. I'm sure AI could help him a lot. But natural ability to sing live, no. No, it's rough. But yeah, big fan of Van Halen. And then you have AC/DC, Agnes Young, guitar player. He's another awesome guitar player, like really, really good. Australia. For him it's a single page. Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen, they have a bunch of pages on him. So, but all these guys are all old now. I don't know who's going to replace them, if anybody. The era of the electric guitar seems like it's winding down. Not just winding down, I think it has wound it down. There was a time every song that was on the radio had a guitar solo. Everyone. And now, I don't even hear the guitar in the main part of the song. Now it's all synthetic sounding music. But yeah, that's Mama's boy. He's going home, get a kiss on the cheek, maybe the forehead. Anyway, music evolves. Can you imagine the guitar dominating music for the next 1,000 years, and music constantly is just a guitar? Every generation creates a new sound for its group of people born into this world. And that's how it is. Everybody wants to take credit for inventing the new sound. You don't want to be playing the guitar, 100 years after it became famous by Chuck Berry. You want to come up with something new. And I think the new sounds are the computer sounds. Computer bass, computer drums. I hear the cops in the distance. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to go up and get ready for bed. That's it for now. Ciao.